everyone, welcome back to camp. I'm excited to show you the activity I have planned for you today. Today we are talking about algorithm design. Algorithm design is the process of developing step-by-step instructions for solving the problem. This is the last process of computational thinking. It's where you bring everything together to help you solve the problem at hand. This step-by-step process is created so that a human or a computer can replicate the work exactly with the same outcome every time. So why is it important? It is important because it makes things easy to follow and replicate. It also combines all other elements of computational thinking, such as pattern recognition, decomposition, and abstraction. Algorithm design is not necessarily solving for a specific answer. Instead, it solves how to build a replicable process. Here, let's dive in a little deeper with a fun activity. Before we begin, you will need a few materials. The first is a recipe that you will find online or in a cookbook with the help of a parent or a guardian. You will also need a pencil and a piece of paper to take any notes. You also need a camera to take pictures of your results. So for the activity, you will ask a parent or a guardian to experiment with you in the kitchen. Find a recipe. It can be simple or complex, but it must be an actual recipe found online or in a cookbook. You are going to make two versions. The first is going to be exactly like the recipe says, and the second one is you will be removing or substituting one of the steps and or ingredients. I chose to do this experiment with a 3-2-1 mug cake. I want you to choose a different recipe than the one I chose. My recipe required 1 box of angel food cake mix, 1 box of any cake mix. I chose confetti cake mix. You need water and icing. The icing is optional. So since the icing is optional for the recipe and won't really change the outcome, for the sake of this experiment, I am not going to be removing or replacing that. However, if I did replace it with something like ketchup, I may not be pleased. But I ultimately decided that I'm going to leave the angel food cake mix out. Since I am leaving the ingredient out, I will also be skipping the first step. Once you decide on your recipe and the one ingredient and or step to remove or substitute, answer this question. What do you think will happen if you remove one of the ingredients or steps or replace it with another? I decided to leave the angel food cake mix out and skip step 1. I'm not really sure if this will change the end result a whole lot because I still have 1 cake mix. However, I think the altered cake result is going to be super dry and more like bread rather than cake. Answer this question based on your recipe and what you decided to remove or change. So now's the fun part where you actually get to make both recipes. The original one and then the one that you altered. Here are my results. On the left is the original cake and on the right is the one where I removed the angel food cake. So, what actually happens after you do the replacement or removal? With my recipe, what actually happened was that the 2 cakes didn't taste very different. In fact, they tasted similar. I also noticed the textures were very different. The correct recipe was nice, light, and fluffy, while the altered recipe had a tougher, more gooey texture as you were chewing it. I noticed that if I remove the angel food cake mix, then the taste doesn't change that much, but the texture does. I want you to answer this same question based off of your results and try using the if-then statement. So why is this important to algorithm design? So you see, the first cake I made turned out exactly like the recipe because I followed step-by-step instructions that I could repeat over and over and get the same results every time. When I removed one thing from that design, I altered any step taken after that removal. Therefore, the end result would not be what was expected or planned. The person who made this recipe created a step-by-step that solved how to build a replicable process, combining all the elements from pattern recognition to decomposition to abstraction. Algorithmic design is the process that shows others how to do something to achieve a desired specific result. So now it's time for you to get your experiment on. Now that you have all the information you need, you are ready to pick your recipe and begin your experiment. Don't forget to take pictures of both outcomes and answer these questions. What do you think will happen if you remove or replace an ingredient or step? And what actually happened? Once you're done experimenting, upload a video talking about what you did and noticed, or upload your pictures and write about what happened. I'm excited to see what y'all come up with. Remember to have fun.